That-
Iowa. Did I grab
Awesome.
everybody? Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
So
So-
George, I want to quickly intro you. I'll never, ever, ever forget the very first time we met Jordan. We were at an Eric Worre event, and we were kind of in the lobby, and Jordan was getting ready to present at this event, and he was kind of running through what he was going to do from stage. And he was talking about how he was going to have this $100 bill and auction it off from stage, and he didn't know how it was going to play out. And I think that event, it was smaller. I forget what
there were 8,000. There were
8,000
people.
total. So I
Yep.
mean, a large event, but just I didn't know who Jordan was at the time, and we're having this conversation with him, and he's talking about how he was going to go up on stage and do this, and what unfolded was
nervous.
what was just magic to me. And
It was mind blowing for everybody, including me and everybody backstage. Mind blowing.
And the coolest thing to me was, you know, in this business, it's such a small network of people when you really think about it. But the people it attracts, like you guys know, within LifeVantage is amazing. But just in the profession in general, it's humans you want to do life with. And
Yeah.
you know, just immediately when we got connected with Jordan and just how humble he was, and just a regular person, and you know, still at the level that he was, being nervous to go on stage and do this, it really showed me a whole different perspective on what was possible with the profession. And Michelle and I were still relatively young in the business, but do we want to start off with him just explaining that story, maybe?
Sure.
Do you want to take it from there
I
on
can
how
do that. I'll try and keep that story kind of brief. It's a little bit relevant. It's always relevant when you're talking about expanding your vision and expanding your dreams, I guess. I had done this before, but I did it on a conference call with about 200 people, maybe even 100. I can't remember. But I had a $100 bill. I told my assistant, Megan, that I was going to be auctioning off a $100 bill on this conference call. And I think I can get $1,000 for this $100 bill in 8 minutes, I told her. And she said, that's a stupid idea. This is exactly what she said to me. That's a stupid idea. No one would ever pay more than $100 for a $100 bill. And I'm like, I don't know. I think I can get more. So I auctioned this $100 bill off, and it was, Linda Thomas from Pittsburgh, who I'd never met. She ended up in 8 minutes, she paid $1,000 for it. And I went through something with the group. It was all about value. So a $100 bill is, most people would say it's only worth $100. But if I were to say this $100 bill, I'm going to sign it. If I'm a leader in an organization, and that's my organization, my team, and I say I'll sign the $100 bill, well, I can find out what my signature's worth on that $100 bill. And then I could say, you know, this $100 bill, it's also going to be signed by the founder of our company. And then I can get a little more for it. So now it's 100. Now it's worth 150, then maybe $200. And then I say, I'm going to have all of our top leadership sign this $100 bill. And so now it's worth maybe 300, 350. And this is what happens. And so I had it framed. I told them that it would be framed. I told them that it might bring them some luck if they put it over their desk and they could look at it every day. And because of that, it created value in their eyes. So, and they paid $1,000. Well, I did it again in front of a group of about 500 people at a mastermind event down in Florida, and got $7,500 twice for it. So I had two different people that paid $7,500 for this $100 bill. And then when I went to, so I thought with a group of 8,000 people, I thought I could, now nobody, at this point, nobody knows this exercise, not even Eric and Marina. They were running the event. Nobody knows what I'm going to do. Gary Vaynerchuk was backstage. Robert Kiyosaki was backstage. Tony Robbins was backstage. Bob Proctor was backstage. And nobody knew what I was going to do. I was nervous because of that, right? And I told everybody, I think I can get $25,000 for this $100 bill. And what happened is when we hit $90,000, I'm like freaking out. right? Because it's like, what do I do? Because it's going beyond, like, I have like 10 minutes to do the auction and then 10 minutes to train on the value of the auction, like what lessons were learned in the auction. And so I kept going, and finally, because there's 8,000 people, everybody's everywhere. I said, if you're willing to pay, at one point, I said, if you're willing to pay $90,000 for this $100 bill, first of all, it's a real auction. I stopped the auction. I said, it's a real auction. You have $90,000. You're willing to give me $90,000 for this $100 bill. They don't even know where the money's going to go. Right. I just said that. And at this point, I've got Bob Proctor's signature on there, Gary Vaynerchuk, not Gary Vaynerchuk, Rob Dyrdek's signature's on there. He's from the Ridiculousness Show. I've got Robert Kiyosaki's signature on there. So now all of a sudden, and Eric and Marina, of course, and now all of a sudden I ask everybody to come up, and there's like 13 people that are willing to give me $90,000 for this $100 bill. Now here's where it gets kind of crazy. Like, you guys all, I could see you when I said 90,000, you were like, you gasped, but you have no idea. So it kept going. 250,000, 350,000, 500,000. I'm not kidding you, 1 million. Two people stepped up onto the stage, an Asian guy from Canada who was from Vietnam, and David Martin, who used to work, I didn't know this, I never heard of the guy. He was Larry Ellison's business partner at Oracle. And he was in the crowd of 8,000. And they were standing on the steps, and they started a bidding war, and it went all the way up to $3.2 million. And so David Martin won the bid, and he came up on stage, and I asked him a few questions, and I told him that the money's going to go to the Starkey Hearing Foundation to help literally thousands and thousands of kids in developing countries get hearing aids. And so with celebrities, like David was running around with Katy Perry and George Bush and Bill Clinton and Evander Holyfield, Elton John. He's traveling all over the world fitting kids with hearing aids as a result of this. Now, he didn't know any of this until after the auction was over with. So I'll ask you, why would people bid more than $100 for a $100 bill? Why? Like, some of you say I would never pay more than $100 for a $100 bill. But some of you say, well, I could see maybe 1,000. Why would somebody pay? Why do you think these people were willing to pay 90,000, 100,000, 150,000?
Yeah, value. You made
What's it?
Extra value, perceived value.
Yeah, but I think when it hit around $25,000, it was no longer about the value of the $100 bill.
Well, is bragging rights to be the one that won.
To be the one that won.
Yes, to be number one, to be recognized, to be seen in front of 8,000 people, to be known and remembered. And then there's ego that's involved, and there's competition and all these things. There's value in that. You know, there's more value in being recognized than there is in the money. Yeah. So David Martin, I didn't know this. I didn't know anything about him. He was starting a business, and he knew that crowd was filled with influential people that had money, some of them. And he knew that if he won the bid, that he would have access, instant access to those people. And he was paying for the access, because now everybody knows David Martin was the guy that bid $3.2 million on a $100 bill. Everybody knows that. He can call anybody in that crowd and say, I'm the guy. And that was worth $3.2 million to him. So
such a cool story, Jordan. And, I think a lot of us, we know now at this point, like Jordan Adler, Beach Money, #1 bestseller, one of the top network marketers in the entire world. But can you tell our group about your first decade in network marketing?
Yeah, so I picked up a book. I grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago, and my parents had 3 kids, myself and my 2 sisters. They saved their whole life for us to go to college for 1 year, and then we had to figure out, we weren't allowed to take out loans, but we had to figure out how to pay for our way through college. But we were required to graduate, and so I got a degree in landscape architecture. But the home that I grew up in, just to give you a sense of my neighborhood, When my father passed away 8 years ago, granted this was 8 years ago, I sold our family home, the home that I grew up in, for $8,900. Not 89,000, 8,900. That's the neighborhood I grew up in. And today, obviously, 8 years later, the prices have gone up, but still that home probably today would sell for maybe 30,000, maybe. And that's the home that I grew up in. And so while I was in high school, I picked up a book at a garage sale called The Basics. It was called the subtitle was the 10 Napkin Presentations. It was by a guy named Don Faila, and Don's still alive. He's in his 90s. And I got this thing in the late 70s, and I spent 25 cents on it. And this book changed my life. It talked about leverage and residual income. And I decided while I was late in high school that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I wanted to do network marketing. And back then, 90% of the population was 100% sure that network marketing was a scam, and 10% believed it. Today, 90% know that network marketing is legitimate, and 10% are 100% convinced that it's a scam. So that's the difference, right? Back then, it was a little bit different. So I moved right out of college. I had $250 that I got for birthday gifts, mostly from my family. And I knew one person that lived in Arizona, and there was a lot of building going on, and I had a degree in landscape architecture. So I took a guitar, a suitcase, and $250, and I moved. I was on my first flight ever, and I flew to Arizona, and I started working jobs, and I started looking for opportunities as well. And over the next 10 years, while I was working different jobs, I rented roller skates at a little roller rink at ASU campus. I worked in the gym doing abs classes and selling memberships. And I also worked as a draftsman, finally got a job in that field, but the job paid me $12,800 a year to be a draftsman back in the 80s. And so I was, floundering and I'm getting involved in all these different network marketing companies. So I got involved in about one network marketing company a year for the next 10 years. And I was in 11 different network marketing companies in 10 years, one at a time. I get excited. I was in Nishika 3D cameras and Dr. Hill's Potent Dice Spirulina and Amway twice and all these different companies. I got involved and I never signed up one person and never got a check for 10 years, 11 companies. I would try and drag somebody to a meeting. They would no-show me and then I would quit. And I racked up $36,000 on credit cards, on 22 credit cards. And at the age of 34 years old, I was living in an enclosed garage in Tempe, Arizona. My rent was $200 a month. I had all that credit card debt. I had a Jeep that was broken down in the street for 2 years. And I owned one suit. And that was my life back then. And I was literally eating macaroni and cheese and tuna fish 2 nights a week. And there was $1.99 ponchos, Mexican food that I would go get at 34. And so I joined my 12th network marketing company in 1992. And in that company, I made $8 million. Oh, did we spill something?
Yeah.
We're good. Keep going.
All right. In that company, I made $8 million. That was my 12th company. I'd never made a penny in any network marketing company.
Wow.
And so I moved out of the enclosed garage. I went and got a convertible BMW. I started traveling around the country, speaking at different events. Eventually, I was traveling on private jets. Our company had a couple of private jets, and my life completely transformed. But that was my 12th company on my 11th year. My first year, the most I ever made in my 12th company, the company that I stuck with and didn't quit and made my first, good amount of money it was called Excel Communications. It was a telecom, and we sold long distance service. It was a network marketing long distance company, and we were around for 16 years. The company went out of business on its 13th year. It was a multi-billion-dollar network marketing company, and it went out of business because the whole telecom industry went digital. So our company owned hundreds of millions of dollars in analog switches around the world. The whole industry went digital. And so in 6 months, we went from a $1.5 billion company to a $300 million company. and we couldn't pay our bills. And so my $80,000 a month check went away. And I started blowing through, 20,000 bucks a month. I had expenses because I was living like somebody who made good money. And so I ended up I had to do a lot of reorganizing of things. And then I've been for 20 years, I've been with another company and been building that for 20 years. And I've signed up personally. So in my last company, after never signing anybody up, not one single person in the first 10 years, 11 companies, in my 12th company, I personally signed up 129 people in 13 years. 129 divided by 144 months, which is 13 years, it's less than one a month. Personally, less than one a month in 13 years. But from those, I had 85,000 distributors and 250,000 customers from those 129. Now, here's the thing. Of the 129, guess how many of the 129 that I brought in, guess how many of them were responsible for 90% of my income?
2%.
5. I went like this and it raised my hand. See, that's raising my hand. I got it. Not now. Okay. So it automatically raises your hand if you raise your hand. 5 people. And so 124 people either quit or became customers. The other 5 led me to 85,000 distributors and 250,000 customers. Now, the company I'm in now, which I've been in for 20 years, I've signed up about 700 people personally in 20 years. From those 7, I've got over 1 million customers that use our service.
That's
so it's funny because it's typically little defining moments that change everything in our lives. It's like picking up that book at the garage sale, or not quitting and just continuing to go, even when things got really, really, really hard and you want to quit. I just had made a decision in my 12th company that no matter how hard it is, I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to work when things that was another decision. I'm going to work when things get tough. I'm not going to take a break when things get tough, because that's how you end up dying. So Michelle and Sean had some stuff they wanted me to go over with you, but I could talk forever. So does everybody have stuff? Does everybody have something to write with? You're all going to need something to write with. Okay, good. And it's going to be this particular exercise needs to be on a notepad, not on your phone. This particular one. Okay. So before I go there, is there anything else that you want me to talk about, Sean?
I was just gonna real quick to set this up is like one of the things that I just respect you the most for is your ability to create vision in an atmosphere where most of ordinary people would just say, no, this isn't possible. We can't do this. And so during COVID, a lot of us experienced complete shutdown. And in the middle of this, or early on during COVID, when everything was still really shut down, Jordan was creating a mastermind where he would take you on a private jet to the mastermind. And so we all met up. There was, I don't know, 15.
How many of us?
10, 12 of us?
Yeah, 12, I think 12 or 15. I can't remember.
So we all met up in Las Vegas, and Jordan got us on a private jet. And we flew from Las Vegas into California when you're not supposed to be traveling into California. And we had this mastermind there. And then we took the private jet back to Las Vegas before we got in trouble from California. But like just creating stuff like that, I don't know that there's even 0.1% of the population that would have tried to pull this off. And Jordan made it happen.
And it was so fun. Memory of a lifetime, right?
It was, totally was.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. Yeah. So I could say, my brand is Beach Money, and I'll tell you how that came about. And so I'm kind of a dream broker. That's what I do. I help people stretch their dreams a little bit. That's kind of how I see myself. I was running classified ads long before I ever signed anybody up in network marketing. I'd save my money up, or I'd put it on a credit card, and I'd pay $250 for a little 3-line classified ad in the newspaper, hoping to get some leads. And whenever I would put the title Beach Money as the first line, I would get like 20 times more calls, which still wasn't like a lot. Like if I didn't put Beach Money, I'd get 3 calls. But if I did put Beach Money, I get 30 calls. And I remember that. So when I wrote the book years ago, I wrote the book first before it had a title. And I didn't write it to be sold in the marketplace. It was just for my team. This was many years later. I'd actually had big success in Excel, and then also big success in the company I'm with now. And so I wrote the book, and then I was trying to come up with the title. And I'm like, I remembered that it's all about beach money. That's what the book is about. So that became my brand. And then the second book, this was kind of a cool story. I went through, like, in 8 months, I went through like 40 titles. There were some good ones, some really bad ones, a few okay ones. And I was running it by everybody. What's a good title for the second book? Blah, blah, blah. Trying to come land on one. And it wasn't right. And then one night I was here at my place on Mount Charleston, outside of Nevada, outside of Las Vegas. And we're sitting around a fire right outside. And I've got 5 friends with me. And I'm telling them the story of the Beach Money title and all that. They know Beach Money. They've all read Beach Money. And I said, I'm looking for a title for my second book. And one of the guys around the fire said, well, what's the book about? And I said, well, the only thing I can tell you is it's better than Beach Money. And he goes, better than Beach Money? And I go, better than Beach Money. That's the title. Better than Beach Money. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so imagine we were in a big, like a meeting hall or something, a gazebo somewhere that's big where we could all fit in there, this size group. And we're all standing around the perimeter of the room. Okay. And there's a guy, or let's say there's a woman in the middle. She's got a belt on, and there's yellow ropes tied to that belt that extend out to the perimeter of the room. And you're all holding a yellow rope. She's in the middle of the room with the belt, and the yellow ropes are tied around the belt. You're all holding the yellow ropes around the perimeter of the room. And we blindfold her, and then we put $100 bill on the ground somewhere where far away from where she's standing. And I tell you that the only rule is you're not allowed to verbally communicate. That's the only rule. You're not allowed to verbally communicate. So what happens is, because you can all see what's going on, some of you pull on the rope, some of you let some rope go. And you kind of move her to where the $100 bill is, and then she bends down and picks up the $100 bill. We tell her that's the goal, is to get the $100 bill. So you move her by pulling the rope and letting some rope out. You're moving her. Now what we do is we change it. Same rules. You're not allowed to verbally communicate. But now we take the blindfold off her, and we put blindfolds on all of you. So everybody around the perimeter of the room is wearing a blindfold. She's in the middle with no blindfold, and there's yellow rope going from her belt to each of you. Now, what do you do? Because there's a $100 bill on the ground. She needs to get the $100 bill, and she can see it, but she can't get to it because you're holding the ropes. So you're trying to she's trying to send signals to you, but it's just not working. And then I say to the group, I say to you again, the only rule is that you're not allowed to verbally communicate. That's the only rule. You're not allowed to verbally communicate. So you try it again, and you get frustrated because you can't get her to know, you can't get her to where the $100 bill is. And then I say it a third time. What's the only rule?
Can't verbally communicate.
You can't verbally communicate with each other. That's the only rule. What's that?
Can you take off the
Yes.
blindfold?
She takes off. Well, you could take off your blindfold. Yeah, that would be one. Another one would be she could take off the belt and just walk over. Or she could forcibly walk over and pick it up, right? So those are the yellow ropes. They're imaginary. They don't really exist. They just keep us from having what we want. And that's what this next exercise is going to be about. Because some of you, even in this workshop, I promise you, I guarantee you, a few of you will not have any problem with this exercise at all. It'll be really easy for you. Some of you will start to struggle with it and get stopped, and you'll know who you are, and you'll know when. And you'll be happy to talk about it too. It's not anything uncomfortable. It's just that you'll notice something that can really keep you from growing. So we did this exercise at the mastermind when we did the mastermind by private jet. We actually flew to San Diego. We took a limo to the beach, and we were in a condo, a beautiful 5-bedroom condo right on the boardwalk. And we had the doors and the windows open, and we were like almost inside outside doing our mastermind that way. So here's what I'd like you to do on your notepad. Number from 1 to 12, but give yourself about an inch between each. On the left-hand column going down, 1 to 12, but give about an inch between each one. 1 all the way down to 12. Michelle and Sean, you're playing, right?
Yep. You
All right,
bet
good.
I am.
All right, now what I'd like you to do is next to number 1, put 500. Put $500. And then number 2, double it, put 1,000. And then number 3, double it, put 2,000. And then number 4, double it, put 4,000. And take that all the way to number 12. And if you double it correctly, you should have 1.024 thousand. So I'll read them to you. 500, 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 8,000, 16,000, 32,000, 64,000, 128,000, 256,000, 512,000, 1,024,000. Is that what everybody got?
Give us a second, please.
Sure, of course. So 12 should be 12 should be 1,024,000. 11 should be 512,000. 10 should be 256,000, and 9 should be 128,000.
Wait, can you do 10, 11, and 12 again? I was writing backwards.
10, 11, yeah, 256,000, 512,000, 1,024,000.
Good.
Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Everybody got it? All right, good. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. And normally I would play music, but we're not gonna play music because I don't have music right now. But what this represents 12 months. And so on month 1, we're gonna pretend that I'm gonna give you $500. And you have to spend that $500. And then on month 2, if you don't spend it, it doesn't roll over, it goes away. Month 2, you've got $1,000 to spend, and you have to spend the $1,000. And we're gonna do that every month for 12 months. And so here's what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to write in, and you can bounce around a little bit, but I'd like you to pretty much focus on staying like line by line, start at the top and just go down. And I'd like, and the one rule is that you can't spend more than 10% of it on charity, like giving it away. You know, if it's something that you're going to do for your family, an experience you're going to create. And so because until you know what you're going to do with the money when it comes, you won't grow to that point. You've got to have an idea, a vision of what you're going to do with the money. So start with month 1, spend your 500, write in what you would spend it on, and then afterwards we'll talk about it. But all the way through 12, go ahead and do that. Start at the top and go down. Don't bounce around. In fact, there's a reason I'm going to have you not bounce around. You can't give away more than 10%. You either spend it or you lose it. And this is going to really exercise your dream muscles. So go ahead. And by the way, think yellow ropes. If you get stuck, that means you've got yellow ropes that are keeping you from dreaming bigger. So let go of the yellow rope and just make something up. Come up with something fun, something that'll get you excited and inspired. You can pay off credit cards, I suppose, as long as you don't have $1 million in credit card debt. Think of it in terms of creating your dreams. It doesn't have to be on stuff. It can be on experiences. can be on projects, or maybe it's something, maybe you never got a college degree and you want a college degree, or maybe you don't want a college degree. Maybe there's something you want to learn. Like I spent 150,000 learning to fly helicopters. If you get stuck, use your imagination. If you didn't have to work, what would you be doing with your time? You can invest it, but not all of it. And you can involve family and friends. I had somebody in one of the groups say that they wanted to build a zoo, and they did.
Nice.
They created their own zoo.
So cool.
Maybe you want to take your family on a trip to Europe. Maybe you want to build a church down in South America. Sean, I'm going to count on you to tell me when people are slowing down.
Perfect. I see a lot of writing still.
Yeah. Make this exercise fun. It should be fun. If you're feeling stress over it, then just let it go and just come up with things that just would make you excited about life, more excited than you even are right now.
How much does it cost for a person to go to space?
You can do it for $250,000 right now. The hard part is getting on the list at this point, because there's a lot of people doing it. Maybe you're really into art and there's some pieces that you want. Or maybe you want to go VIP to a backstage pass to go to a concert of somebody that you really like. You can usually get a lot of concerts. You can get backstage passes for, a few $1,000. Maybe you want to take your family to New York to go to Broadway and see a show there.
Oh, I see some scribbling out, rewriting. See a couple people stuck.
All right. We'll go for 5 more minutes. This obviously doesn't stop after we're done. You can keep going, but we're going to go for 5 more minutes here. Maybe you have a beautiful home that you really, really love and you have no plans of moving out, but there's things that you want to update or remodel or, you know, that kind of thing. Maybe you want to put in a pool. Maybe you want to put in an enclosed pool. Maybe you want to build a guest house. Or maybe you want to move to a nicer house with more square footage.
You see, you good?
Are we good? Are we good? You think
We got, I think,
everybody's
a third of the
good?
people, I think they're good.
All right,
Thumbs
good.
up. Good.
So first thing I'd like to do is, would any of you like to share on any part of your list? Maybe you can tell us where it is on the list. Would any of you want to share?
I will.
Yep, Marisa.
You want me to do a few of them off the top?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Let's see.
Everybody's off Wi-Fi, right?
We're still connected.
I'm off Wi-Fi.
Are you still on with them, Michelle?
Well,
Oh,
you're-
there we go. We're back. Okay,
Oh, yep.
We're
I
back.
don't know what. Okay, there we go.
Go for it.
Hi, Jordan.
Hi.
Christy Lee's a good friend of mine, by the way.
Oh, I love her. She's great. She's great. I saw her last weekend.
Yeah, I know.
Nice.
Um,
Wait.
also-
Hi.
Jordan.
What is going on, Isa? Nice to see you. Wow. We met like 3 times in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, I know, and yeah.
And
Yeah.
I owe you an apology, Isa, because you were standing right by me in the back of the room and I recognized you, but I'm like, I think I know her.
It's okay, I forgive you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you in Prescott soon.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
So basics for 500 is just groceries, you know,
Okay.
right? So, I did a weekend away in Sedona, $1,000.
Nice.
2,000 was a trip to New York City, which I'm doing next week to see our daughter and go to a show. And
Awesome.
and Mets Diamondbacks game. And I know we'll spend more than that, but well, I don't know, we may not. We have a free place to stay, so that's good. 4,000, just adding a new wall into our living room, where we would have electric fireplace and some pull-out shelves.
Nice.
You want me to keep going?
Yeah, do a couple more.
Okay, 8,000 Alaska cruise. 16,000, but we know it's 20 because we're planning on doing it as an Africa safari.
Fantastic. Good stuff. So
Let's
what
Yeah.
in New York, what show are you going to see? Do you know yet?
Yeah.
What are you going to see?
Book of Mormon.
That's awesome.
Hilarious. It's hilarious.
I've seen it. My husband hasn't, so, but my daughter and I have seen it. It's really funny, so.
Pretty
I
fun.
listen to something light.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Cool.
Landscaping the front yard, you know, as I get money and which also including a pool.
Did you run into any, like, did you get stuck at any point?
Yes, I did. I had to think.
At what dollar amount did you get stuck?
I think I got stuck at like the, No, I knew like at 256,000, I just want to help my kids invest in homes. So that,
Okay.
I know that's my goal, so I'm pretty good, clear, and even 128. Donate to charity about, like where I can significantly give back to something,
Yeah,
and I know that's
yeah.
10%. I think I had a hard time, like even on the 32,000 and 64,000, but
Yeah.
um,
So think of it kind of like it's a thermostat, where we all have our thermostat set at a certain level for everybody. Even,
I got stuck at 512,000.
all right, good. Yeah.
I got
So
stuck.
like Elon Musk doesn't have a thermostat, billionaires, lots of there are billionaires that do though. Like there's billionaires that'll get to 2 billion and they never can get past that. It's because that's their thermostat. It's not about the money at that point. It's always about the mission at that point. Anything over probably 20 million is not about the money. It's about the mission. It's about the difference you can make in the world. So, anybody else want to share their dreams?
Sure, I will.
Okay, Amanda.
Okay, go ahead. Who is that? Amanda. All right.
Hi, I don't know if you can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you.
I'm
Right
waiting.
here, Amanda. Right here.
Above.
Yeah, right there.
So I actually
Oh,
kind
there
of,
you are.
I actually kind of had the opposite problem. I have
Okay.
really big dreams and goals. So like the higher
Nice.
numbers were so much easier for me. It was the small numbers.
Okay.
That I kind of got stuck at, like, I don't know what to do with $4,000 if the bills are paid, but like, my husband and I have plans to build a family compound in Montana, and we looked at property and we know it's gonna cost us $1 million. We want a property in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, and I wanna take my mom to Europe, so like the bigger numbers were easier for me, but I
Yeah.
did get like, what would I do with $1,000? And I was like, oh, do you know what, I would love to hire a professional organizer to come do the
There you
things that
go.
I never have the time to do in my house.
Yeah.
But
I probably, with this group, I probably should have started a bigger number than 500. If we'd started at 1,000, we'd be closer to like 3 or 4 million. I think it's 4 million. If we
yeah,
started at 1,000. Yeah. Because this group is a little higher level group. You're the top leadership, and your vision and your dreams are going to be a lot bigger. So, and that's a good thing, but there's no right or wrong on this. It's not like if you get stuck at a certain place, there's something wrong. There's not. It's just that we all have a thermostat based on a lot of times our old conversations that we had with our parents or a school teacher,
Yes,
Sure.
So do you have anything else you want to share, Amanda?
I want, and I think this was at the 32,000, because I haven't even looked at what this is gonna cost me, but my husband wants to fly fish in New Zealand and I hate to fly. So we have to go first class where I can sleep in a lay down bed. So first class, all inclusive.
Probably 30 to 40,000 for both of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I put that at 32, so that's
Okay.
one of my, that isn't really on my vision board, but thinking through it, I need to put that up there first.
Yeah.
Just to do.
How many of you, I'm just curious, how many of you have paid the extra money? And again, there's no, well, shoot, I can't believe it. You still with me?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm plugged in, but for some reason my battery is dying on my iPad. I might have to go to my computer if we go out too much longer. Let's see what happens here. So, how many of you have paid the extra money to sit in the front seats at either very big network marketing events like VIP seats, or at concerts where you sat up front? Okay, good. Okay, great. How many of you have paid the extra money to fly first class on an overseas trip?
Overseas.
Okay. Yeah. It's better up front. It's always better up front. Everything is better up front. And so sometimes it's worth paying that extra money for access. Sometimes it's worth it because it gets you around people that have things going on in their lives. Were you going to say something?
I was just to say, my husband and I, 22 years ago, won a trip to England And I had a 6-month-old at the time, but anyway, we won and it was, we flew business and first class on Virgin Atlantic. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
so nice.
I didn't want the plane to land. I
Yeah,
was having so much fun. They gave massages.
it's so fun. So great. Anybody done a nice suite on a train?
Yeah.
That's a trip. That's a fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anybody? Good
That's
stuff.
okay.
Anybody else want to share?
Kate
One
was
more.
gonna share.
Oh God, I feel like I'm gonna cry. Okay, mine took me like 5 seconds.
All right.
So, obviously, like, I would just pay off bills until I got to 16,000, and then I would put that in the bank for my kids. At 32, I'd buy a boat, then I'd put a pool in. I think I'd start a business for inner city youth at 128. I don't know what I'd do with 256, but I think I'd travel with my family, and then if I had 500,000, I'd probably pay off all my family's bills. And if I had a million, I'd buy a house like for my family to just vacate from that, but I don't know why it's always for everyone else. And I don't know why I'm about to cry. But anyway.
Yeah, that's something that's what's your name?
Katie.
Katie. That's something to look at for sure. You know? Yeah, it's like it's you kind of like telling yourself that you're not worth it, right? So I'm not worth having my dreams. I can work for other people's dreams. Yeah. It's okay.
You're not alone, Kate. I'm the same way.
You- Yeah, a lot of people are. That's part of the purpose of this exercise. So it's just something to be aware of.
Thank you. Sorry, I did not mean to.
You don't need to apologize.
I don't even know what just happened. Beautiful.
He looks like my brother.
Rose.
Johnny Rose. Love that.
Do though take note of the areas that you really
There you
got
go.
stuck.
There you go.
Okay, you're back.
Back,
All right.
I'm back.
yes.
Yay. And I'd imagine that comes up quite a bit where
does.
emotion comes out.
It does. Every time we do this. And then you can also tell by what somebody's writing down, and you can look at yourself. Like, what am I writing down? You noticed it when you were writing it. You noticed. It's like all of a sudden you go, this is something I need to work on. You know? We all have stuff we need to work on. That's something you need to work on.
Yeah, no,
So.
that was amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. Can you go back and just read the first three that you told me, the payoff bills? Start at the beginning. Can you start back again and just read them?
Yeah. I don't actually start to dream until probably like 128K. And I think that
Well, that's
kind of
good.
says a lot about my mindset though, right? Because it's like, I mean, we can make that in a year. So it's like, I don't know that we're actually thinking about the future or dreaming. And I think it just like hit me. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff I want to do, but like, I don't know that it revolves around money, but it does. So I don't know. I gotta take a deep dive. I'm gonna be real honest. I don't know what just happened. I need to think about it.
All right.
That
That's
was
good.
great. Thank you.
So what were your three?
My
Yeah.
first three is all just like, it's like, I just would pay bills with $500. I would pay off like a doctor bill with $1,000. We have like a credit card that we just, I don't know, I would just pay that thing off. I don't know. It's just like normal. Yeah. I
Did
just
you
would've
say
wanted-
Did you say your name was Katie?
Kate.
Yeah.
Kate.
Yeah.
Kate, one thing you might want to do, not right now, but when you're by yourself, just like sitting in a peaceful environment, is to go do this exercise again, but you're not allowed to spend money on other people at all. Try that.
Throw up.
Did you hear?
Just try that, because your income, and it's okay to want things for yourself. It's okay.
Yeah.
And if you just play that as an exercise, it'll help you to have a balance. So you're doing things for yourself and for other people, not just for other people.
Love it.
Okay, let me see how much I got. 7%. Who wants to go next?
Okay.
Beautiful.
Isa?
I just wanted to say, I was a lot like, Kate, in that all the way up to 12. I think it's pros. But all the way up to 12, it was more about serving debt and doing for others, my daughter, my aunt, my dad. And then when I got to the highest number, the 1.5 million, that was when it was my dream, which is to buy a place in Spain and live in my where I love to be. And so but everything else just felt like I was serving debt. Instead of accruing wealth, it feels like serving debt until it gets to the high numbers.
I agree.
So I think I need to
We need to take a deep
revisit this too.
He might have died.
Yeah.
So, okay.
He might be scrambling to his computer.
Yeah.
How many though people, because I think sometimes you feel like I'm the only one that was feeling that. How many people like those lower numbers, it was like, I just need to get stuff taken care of and cleaned up before I can start dreaming about these other options?
Yeah.
Like how many people in the room? Like you're not alone, but
Okay.
did you feel like you were alone?
Yes,
And you're not.
sure. And like,
And that,
Here.
yeah.
hey, Jordan.
Oh, hi, Sean.
Perfect. So we were just kind of going through how many people in the room had similar feelings to Issa and Kate, where at first it was like, I just need to take care of bills and these things that are hanging over my head before I can even start to dream.
Yeah.
And there was probably 5 or 6 people in the room that raised their hands. And so I just said to her, you kind of felt like it was only you, but the reality is it wasn't.
Totally true. Yeah, that's a great question to ask the group. I'm sure there's a percent of 20% probably were feeling the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just keep in mind, can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Keep in mind that your income will rise to meet the level of your dreams. And paying off bills, although you need to do that, it'll reduce your level of stress probably. That's not going to be enough to grow your income. Just paying off bills. It's got to be a bigger dream, and it's the bigger dreams that will take you to the higher levels. Without those, if you don't, most of you, because of this group, you can always up it. Like you could say, I'm going to start at 1,000, then you're looking at 4 million. It's just month 12. Say maybe play 256, 512, 1 million, 2 million, 4 million, and see how you do on that exercise.
Yeah.
And find out where your thermostat is. And sometimes you're okay. Like my thermostat is 10 million, let's just say. And I'm okay with that. It's not 100 million, it's not 50 million, it's not 300 million, it's whatever. I'm just throwing those numbers out. But so like if you take somebody, people that you hear about, the very, very, very wealthy, financially wealthy people that you hear about in the media, they don't have a thermostat. That's why they've grown. Their skills and their connections, their skills, their network, it rises to that level, which is unlimited in their case. It just continues to. So, like for some people, it's easy to make $100 million. $100 million is like nothing to some people. But then there's other people that are just looking for a few $1,000s a month. And so part of your job as leaders is to help other people in your organizations expand their dreams as well, because their income will rise to the level of their dreams.
Love it.
Wow.
You got a lot of aha moments right there.
Oh, good. Yeah, so is there anything else that you feel like you want to talk about?
Good.
Questions on this exercise?
Any questions, you guys?
Well, I'm just wondering about the group. Does everyone understand what he means by your thermostat? Like how that works, how you work within 3 degrees of a thermostat?
Yeah, so if your temperature on your thermostat is set at 68 degrees, if it goes too high, the cooler comes on and brings it back down. If it goes too low, the heating comes on and brings it back up. So that's what the thermostat is set at. Well, we all have a dollar sign thermostat as well, and a dream thermostat.
Yeah.
So our thermostat is set And like for some people, their thermostat is set at $1 million, and if it's set at $1 million, they'll make $1 million, and that's it. They won't make any more unless they stretch their dreams.
Yeah.
If your thermostat is set at $20,000 a month, you'll never make $50,000 or $100,000 a month.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Michelle and I really experienced this when we did our platinum year with Tony Robbins, because we thought we played at a high level, and then we realized there were a lot higher levels being played than we had ever even thought about.
Yeah, so that brings up another good point, Sean. Really important point is that how do you raise your thermostat? One way is to do what we're doing today. That's one way to do it. What's some other ways that you can increase your thermostat to higher levels?
Around the company you keep.
People you're around.
I can't hear you.
Cody said the people that you surround yourself with, who you're being mentored by.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah. Are you being mentored by people that are more successful than you financially and other? You know, are you around those people? And if not, it just means you need to play a bigger game in that area if you want to grow in that way.
How many people looking back over, let's say, the last 2 years, you're playing at a higher level now than you were 2 years ago? Everybody in here? So
Yeah.
it's just doing that again, right?
yeah.
So I was in Houston. I want to tell you a story that has a couple of offshoots, but I was in Houston speaking at 4 different events. One was in the backyard on a ranch, a beautiful ranch in the forest, with a beautiful oasis pool. This was in Magnolia, Texas. The other was the next day. I spoke at a 200-person business coaching retreat. So the guy that I know is a business coach, and he has a high-level mastermind where he charges like $35,000 for a 1-year program, and he's got like 200 people that are in it. And so I spoke at that event, and then I got invited. This was totally unexpected, but I got invited to the chief of police's home, the chief of police of Houston, to his home. And it's and this was with the same group, but it was a 26,000 square foot home. And I'm thinking, how does the chief of police own a 26,000 square foot home? Like, this looks like something out of the French Riviera. I mean, it is just breathtaking with important materials from all over the world. It's 7 stories.
Oh, geez.
Well, he invented a lock to deadbolt. He sold billions of dollars worth of this deadbolt. And it was an invention. He's got 30 inventions. A couple of them have really taken off. And so I'm invited to his home. Now, here's the thing. There are about 20 people there, including myself, that he had never met. And first of all, he gave everybody a tour. It was a 2-hour tour of his home. Now that's mind expanding.
Yeah.
Vision
Yeah.
expanding. I don't want a home like that. Like, that's like, I mean, I have a hard time. I have a few thousand square feet. I barely use half the rooms, not even half the rooms. And so and that's in multiple places. I don't want a big mansion like that, but it helps me to expand my dreams big time. Right.
Yeah.
The second thing is, when we left, I asked the group, because I knew the group, because I spoke to that group the day before. Of the 20 that were there, they were in the group of the 200. So I asked the group after we left, honestly, how many of you will that billionaire remember 6 months from now? How many? You tell me.
One.
What do you guys think?
One of us being there?
Maybe 1 or 2, maybe.
Maybe.
But I guarantee 100% that he will remember me. And you know why? Because I'm gonna stay in touch with him.
Yeah.
In a meaningful way. So here's what I did. I found out before we went that he loves cigars and that he has a cigar lounge in his home. And it's really nice. So I brought him some cigars in a nice leather case. And he gave me the biggest hug and was so excited. This is a billionaire. He can buy anything he wants. but he was so excited to receive those.
Yeah.
And also I have his home address. And now he is the chief of police, so I'm sure he has other people screening his mail. But I'm gonna send him stuff from time to time. Not like a stalker, but he'll know that I appreciated that tour and meeting his family and the time that he spent with us answering questions. He's gonna know that I appreciated that. And this is one of the things that I've learned. Like, successful people do that.
Yeah.
They give gifts. They write notes. They look for ways to make somebody else feel special, no matter who they are. And so yeah, there were a lot of things about that trip that were really amazing.
So cool, Jordan. You seriously, I mean, you're just one of my favorite humans ever. Every time I hear your name or I see you, it just makes me smile, because that truly is how you live your life. Is everybody that's in front of you is important. And there's not a lot of people we've met like that. So thank you for how much you pour into other people. You know, you don't have to, and you choose to.
Well, thanks, Sean. And I have a ton of respect and admiration for the two of you as well. You and Michelle.
Appreciate it.
And I appreciate our friendship.
Cool. Well, thank you for taking an hour out of your time. I'm gonna pass the phone to Michelle real quick. We love you.
Love you too. Thanks.
Jordan.
Enjoyed it.
Here it
Love
comes.
you.
Here's how it's done.
So fast.
So good. Was it fast but powerful, right?
Yes.
Like so many aha moments, so many grounding in moments, so many maybe perhaps some life enhancing changing moments. And it's and we're gonna be leaving here. Jordan, I'll send you some pictures where we're at, and some people can go to some quiet places and do some really cool things and really just get deep with self and figure out, we're all growing every day. As they say, you're either growing or dying. And we just, like Sean said, we admire you, we love you, we cherish you. You are always in our heart, and I can't wait to give each and every one of them an autographed signed book from Mr. Jordan. I've got them, so I'm gonna hand them out right after this. But yes, I did Jordan, your love. Yeah, we love you, and just no words, so thank you.
All right, well, enjoy the rest of your trip, your retreat, and yeah, I have a feeling you're all gonna walk out of there.
Well, I'm looking at each of their eyeballs right now, and I wish you could see them.